have none appeared as tillers of the ground, none since they went, as though it still were theirs, and they might come and claim their own again. Was the last plough Romans from this seat, sacred for ages, whence, as Virgil sings, the Queen of Heaven, alighting from the sky, looked down and saw the armies in array. Let us contemplate, and, where dreams from Jove descended on the sleeper, where perchance some inspirations may be lingering still, some glimmerings of the future and the past, let us await their influence, silently revolving, as we rest on the green turf, the changes from that hour, when he from Troy came up the Tiber, when refulgent shields, no strangers to the iron hail of war, among those woods where Silvia's stag was lying, his antlers gay with flowers, among those woods where, by the moon, that saw and yet withdrew not, two were soon to wander and be slain, too lovely in their lives, nor in their death divided, then, and hence to be discerned, how many realms, pastoral and warlike, lay along this plain, each with its schemes of power, its little rival ships. What various turns of fortune there, what moving accidents from ambuscade and open violence mingling, the sounds came up, and hence how oft we might have caught among the trees below, glittering with helm and shield, the men of Tiber, or in Greek vesture, Greek their origin, some embassy, ascending to Pr nest, how oft descried, without thy gates, Arisha, entering the solemn grove for sacrifice, senate and people, each a busy hive, glowing with life, but all ere long are lost in one. We look, and where the river rolls southward its shining labyrinth, in her strength the city, girt with battlements and towers, on 7 small hills is rising. Round about, at rural work, the citizens are seen, none unemployed, the noblest of them all binding their sheaves or on their threshing floors, as though they had not conquered. Everywhere some trace of valor or heroic toil. Here is the sacred field of the Horatii, there are the Quintian meadows. Here the hill how holy, where a generous people, twice going forth, in terrible anger sate armed, and, their wrongs redressed, at once gave way, helmet and shield, and sword and spear thrown down, and every hand uplifted, every heart poured out in thanks to heaven. Once again we look, and lo, the sea is white with sails innumerable, wafting to the shore treasures untold, the vale, the promontories, a dream of glory, temples, palaces, called up as by enchantment, aqueducts among the groves and glades rolling along rivers, on many an arch high overhead, and in the center, like a burning sun, the imperial city. They have now subdued all nations. But were they who led them forth, who, when at length released by victory, buckler and spear hung up, but not to rust held poverty no evil, no reproach, living on little with a cheerful mind, the tiki, the fabrici, where the spade, and reaping hook, among their household things duly transmitted, in the hands of men made captive, while the master and his guests, reclining, quaff in gold, and roses swim, summer and winter, through the circling year, on their Falearian, in the hands of men dragged into slavery, with how many more spared but to die, a public spectacle, in combat with each other, and required to fall with grace, with dignity, to sink, while life is gushing, and the plaudits ring faint and yet fainter on their failing ear, as models for the sculptor, but their days, their hours are numbered. Hark, a yell, a shriek, a barbarous outcry, loud and louder yet, that echoes from the mountains to the sea, and mark, beneath us, like a bursting cloud, the battle moving onward. Had they slain all, that the earth should from her womb bring forth new nations to destroy them? From the depth of forests, from what none had dared explore, regions of thrilling ice, as though in ice engendered, multiplied, they pour along, shaggy and huge. Host after host, they come, the Goth, the Vandal, and again the Goth. Once more we look, and all is still as night, all desolate. Groves, temples, palaces, swept from the sight, and nothing visible, amid the sulphurous vapors that exhale as from a land accursed, save here and there an empty tomb, a fragment like the limb of some dismembered giant. In the midst a city stands, her domes and turrets crowned with many a cross, but they, that issue forth, wander like strangers that had built among the mighty ruins, silent, spiritless, and on the road, where once we might have met Xar and Cato, and men more than kings, we meet, none else, the pilgrim and the beggar,